What's going on, world? Your man, Mr. Mac.
And I'm Crystal Leven.
This is the M+M+M show, aka the show, coming to you live and direct with a brother who is, I don't know, we use the word legend a lot, but even if I skip past that one, I will say if you don't know who he is, that says more about you than it does about me, her, and definitely him. Introducing the MFing Natural. Homeboy, could you please state your name so folks know I'm not lying?
What's going on, y'all? My name is Mic Geronimo, aka The Natural. Pleasure to be
here. Thank you for joining us. That voice. Jeez.
Thanks for having me.
The Natural was definitely one of my favorite tracks.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
I actually just opened up iTunes, Apple Music, and just to see what your new song was, and just to remind myself of your previous work. And the #1 song on there still is the one with DMX. With right, and on his new track, there's another song about a father and son situation. It was just poignant.
Call your father.
Were you still in touch with him up until the end? Were you still in touch with him up until the end?
Say that again. Well, like I would say, the last time we really got to speak and were with each other was years ago. But we always kind of would speak through third parties, people we knew. And I know he was busy, and I know he knew that I was busy doing certain things. So we were just looking forward to just seeing each other. I wanted him to see the kids, because I know him knowing that, me being a dad now, that would have blew his mind, and I knew he was happy about that. So, we didn't get to do that, but I tell my boys every night when they ask me, I'm like, he could see you just like grandpa sees you wherever they are, so it's cool. I know that he's seeing them in one of it.
That's deep. How old are your kids now?
Yeah. My youngest is 5. My oldest is 9 going on 10, and the middle is 7 years old.
Okay.
All boys?
Congratulations.
So, yeah, and they're all
they're
DMX
all what?
fans.
Oh, okay.
All of them. They're all avid DMX fans. Like my youngest listens to Who We Be damn near every day.
Wow. Wow.
So you're raising the kids right, is what I'm hearing from this conversation. That's what I'm gathering.
Bro, I got no say so over the music they dig and the music they don't, and it's kind of weird because they just took to it, and then they started asking me all these questions like Dad, this, that, and the third regarding X, and they don't call him DMX, they call him Uncle X or Uncle Earl. So
wow.
That's what that.
But I don't really believe that you don't have anything to do with it. Like there is such a thing as genetics.
Well, yeah, it could be
hip hop DNA.
It could be a hint of DNA, but I mean, it just makes for good dad moments. I can step back and
I heard a quote.
Go ahead.
I heard a great quote. It was I'm blanking on her name, the little Asian Jamaican woman who ran VP Records. She had a quote. She was talking about
my Aunt Pat.
Right, Aunt Pat. Yeah. So Miss Pat, rather.
That's my Aunt Pat.
Yeah, your Aunt Pat to me, Miss Pat. But she made a comment that they didn't know that Bob Marley was going to be a hit necessarily. She said everybody sang in Jamaica back then. Everybody. So until his mentor really, really trained him up, and then they realized he was a hit. She said, "You don't know in the boardroom, you don't know in the studio. It's the streets and the people that make a hit. It's their opinions. So it's like your children choosing who they like. It's like the people choosing what they like. Because there's a certain amount of finances help, pay for play or promotion, but you can't convince people to like what they don't like."
Right, and it's weird because. Wow, that's crazy. Aunt Pat ain't never said that. I never heard her say that to me.
On the Breakfast Club.
And I can remember, I never even caught that interview. I just remember going to her house and her, Mikey, you hungry? You want rice? Mikey, everything was Mikey. But she's right. She's right. I do think with kids that they just have this weird ability. I look at them kind of like tuning forks in a sense. Like, I just think that they're so pure and they're so untainted that they just pick up on the vibe of the music better than anyone else. And it's weird now because, like, even if I'm doing new songs, like my youngest and my oldest in particular, they'll come in and they'll be like, Dad, you should use that beat. That's good. Or they may say, nah, Dad, don't do that one. Or I might start singing like whatever I put together and they'll be like, yeah, Dad, you should finish that. So they're like my A&Rs at home, ironically enough. But they're
like
the best A&Rs you can.
Little Buddhas.
Yeah, they're like, right. They're little Leo Cohens running around. All three of them.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that's a good thing. Leo Cohen has his own reputation. I don't necessarily know if you want to go in that direction. I'm not sure if you want three of those running around the house.
Oh, that's crazy.
No, I'm. You know why I get a little leery when I hear stuff like that. Andre 3000, who's hands down probably one of the greatest we have in our genre, like one of our best. He has made it known that because I think he said his 15, 16-year-old son at the time, because his 15 and 16-year-old son didn't really like dig his stuff and wasn't really into his music, it kind of pushed him away because his idea was, well, the kids won't know who I am. And that was enough to make him kind of like, maybe I'm cool on this. And it pains me that the opinion of a 16, 15, 16, 17-year-old cost us one of our best, like shook his confidence so much that he just doesn't want to do it anymore. I prefer seasoned ears and qualified opinions on certain musicians. I'm glad that your children have sway, and I actually believe they have good taste. See, I think your sons are probably the exception to the rule because they run around here listening to DMX. Yeah, no, your kids are listening to DMX. Right? There's only but so wrong they can be. But in real talk, like I'm always uncomfortable when I hear seasoned artists leaving their fate or leaving it in the hands of the kids.
To that effect, though, I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, you go.
I don't know. I wouldn't leave it solely in their hands, but I mean, honestly put, you got to take everything into consideration, but you also have to be able to hear yourself. You understand what I'm saying? So you kind of have to be like you kind of have to be like the statue justice in a sense. You can hold one thing in one hand and you can hold one thing in another, meaning how you feel and what your vibe is here. What everyone's giving you critique wise is here. And you just have to not let either one tip too much to the left or the right. And at the end of the day, like with me, bro, I always felt like if I felt it and if it was telling me where to go with it, and if it was just easy for me to interpret what it's telling me to do, then I just go for it. I mean, and I always looked at it as worst case scenario, it comes out and it's not a good song. And you're like, all right, cool. It's not a good song. No one's Superman. No one is going to go in each and every time and make the world's greatest song. And I think if you put too much emphasis on that, you kind of set yourself up in a sense for disappointment because you're so busy trying to make comparisons in terms of, okay, this is what this one says, and this is what this one feels, and this is what I feel, and this is what I say.
Right.
And then you get caught up in that whole, that whole debate. And that's not at all where you started. Where you started was just you heard that tune and it told you where to go, and you wrote what your heart told you to write. So a lot of it, and granted, I could be hard on myself, so I get Andre, you know what I mean? Like I get when you're an artist and you really, really love that you have the ability to be a songwriter, you're at times really hard on yourself. and then there's things that come into play that are outside that complicated. And so I don't know. First of all, I think Andre 3000 is one of the most incredible MCs the world has ever known. And I also think that he's one of the best spirits that I ever came across in life. So, kudos to him. But in the same breath, you got to know when to close everything out and just hear you and just hear your heart and just hear the beat. And like I said, the worst case is, all right, so you do it and it doesn't work out. Big deal. It doesn't mean that you won't drop 50 points next game.
Right. I think Dr. Dre had that problem too. They said he was a super perfectionist. That's why he redid the track listing for 10, how many years? We just couldn't put it out because he didn't want to come with a follow-up that wasn't worthy, but then he never came with the follow-up. So like.
Yeah. And it's a double-edged sword being a perfectionist. And like, I get that because like my wife gets on me all the time about how hard I am on myself, and it's funny because I just recently came across something that explained how, there's really no such thing as perfection. There's nothing in this world that is absolutely perfect, and when you look at it that way, then you're like, oh, okay. But guess what? What you do and how you do it is as close as most people can get to that concept or that theory or that thing that you would want to say is perfect.
Usually excellence exists.
Yeah, excellence.
But yeah, that should be the goal.
Excellence exists. There's no right, but that's not. I can only speak for me. Like that ain't the goal for me. My goal is just to, whatever I did last time, let me beat myself at that. You understand what I'm saying? And then the rest, whatever society says I fall, that's cool. That's on them. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you take it, you leave it. So I get why people are hard on themselves, because we don't ever want to let you guys down. We don't ever want to let the listeners down. And we love when you guys give us acclimates because we've done something that's as close to being perfect as it could be, so I get it, but you just gotta be chill. You gotta just be like, yo, man, it's a walk in the park. You feel me?
I want to alley-oop on what you said about sort of making, I'm not sure exactly the wording you used, but my thought pattern was going from choosing to put out music, doing it the best you can, making the decision, hearing what it's supposed to be for you, right? I think of that in terms of personal relationships too. And the fact that you said wife and kids, and we talk a lot of times on here about about people in hip hop growing up and having like grown man conversations, grown people conversations and relationships. And I think a lot of people do this false start thing also with dating or with romance, is that they're almost not sure if this one's right, if this one's right, if this one's right, and then never make a decision and never go all in with anybody or with any life plan.
Yes, people are guilty. Yeah, and some people are guilty of that. And even with that, I think like that's a great springboard for that whole discussion about perfection. You have people in the world that, they'll make this figurative checklist of everything they want in their partner, and their partner has to be this, and they have to do that, and they have to look this way, and they have to dress this way, and they have to, and people make up this whole list of criteria. And it again, I can only speak, you're never gonna find anyone that hits all 100 of these things on your list. You just,
and none of the negatives.
Yeah. I think my wife said it the most profound that I ever heard it. She said, what made her, I'm trying to remember exactly how she put it. She knew she was in love when she said, even those things about you that I wish you didn't have with you, or that probably won't change with you, if I can love you regardless of those things, then I know that I'm in love with you, and vice versa. And I'd never heard Yeah, I never heard anyone put it to me that way.
I've heard people
And it
say
resonated
things.
with me, and I thought about it.
I was gonna say I've heard people say
you
things
know, like if I could live with
we're on a delay. Sorry, keep going.
no, what I was saying was, and then I thought about it and I said, yo, that's kind of ill, because I never looked at it like, despite all these things that we all look for when we get in a relationship, we're like, okay, I wish this person would tweak that, or I wish they would disregard that, or I wish they could just change this. And I asked myself, I said, with all the things that you wish, you know, would change in a different way or do differently, would you not be happy with her now? Like, is she everything that you've ever wanted? And she's still everything that I ever wanted, regardless to all of these things that, you know, they may annoy me, or I wish they were different. And I have to say, I never looked at it that way. But once she said that to me, I kind of was like, yeah, well, isn't that really what the definition of a true love is? You go through it and you know there's shit that's never gonna change, but it doesn't matter to you, because you wouldn't want to be with anyone else under the sun.
Right.
You know, so that's just the way that it is.
How long have you
and
been
if
married?
you keep chasing after this list, about 14 years now. About 14 years.
Kudos.
Thank you.
Kudos. We both clapped at the same time. I was gonna say there's another piece in there about being with the person. I said I don't want loyalty because it's a rule or because it's some agreement. I want loyalty because you keep choosing that person, even with other options. There's always going to be temptation. There will always be beautiful, younger, richer, whatever people out there. But if you still choose your person because you prefer them, that's why I want to be loyal.
Exactly. And I it's crazy because people just get caught up at looking too hard into shit. You know what I mean? And people get so caught up in like trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you can't construct a perfect life. You can't. You can only do things that ensure that it may be easier or it may be harder for you. But there's no one alive who can say like, okay, I have the blueprint to the perfect life with the perfect person, and here it is. It doesn't work that way. You understand what I'm saying?
Mostly
and
because everything's going to be subjective. You definitely can't put that together if everyone's idea of heaven is something different. Like, you know, I'm from Queens. My idea of heaven is, you know, Jamaica Avenue a couple of years ago, 165 Coliseum block, you know, a beef patty, new Timbs, and dope chicks. There's some people who that's horrible for them. Right. So a perfect life doesn't exist because I think it's so subjective, but your wife sounds perfect for you, which is a completely different thing than just a perfect wife.
Right.
Because God forbid, I said, I don't want to be perfect for every person on the planet. That would be exhausting. I want to be perfect for one person.
Right. And even for that person, you can't be perfect.
Yeah.
You just can't. Like, to me, what I'm starting to learn the older I get is it's all about what makes and keeps you happy. That's all. And nobody ever said that making and keeping you happy would not involve turbulence. Nobody said that won't involve mistakes. Nobody said that won't involve, well, this is not perfection. That's not what this shit is about.
Well, they tell us a fairy tale.
Like, it's just not. Say that again?
They try to sell us a fairy tale through books, entertainment, because the fantasy is real. And fantasies are fine. But fantasies are not real. That's why porn is not real. Like, it's an image to inspire, but it's not real. So like the perfect fairy tale wedding, life, house, all that type of stuff.
I'll let that one go.
But the idea is to be inspired by entertainment instead of trying to copy it. Yeah, but keep going.
well, each his own. Like what I say today is the guy to sum it all up. Yo, man, do what makes you, because I only get one goal. It's just to each its own, you know, and people have to do what works for them. People have to do what makes them better. People have to do what keeps them solid. You know, and nobody can answer those things but you, regardless to what you're shown that gets you to kind of fall into, well, if I did it this way, it would come out like her or come out like his life. Or
yeah. Oh, that's what
you just
Instagram
got to
has
do
everybody
what works
screwed
for
up.
you. And as long as you're not.
That becomes the subjective thing
much.
again. Do you know what makes you happy? There's so many people who are chasing the idea of happiness as viewed through someone else's lens. There are people who think that Jay-Z's life is perfect for them until they have to walk in those shoes, and everybody you know is asking you for money because everybody you know knows you have the money. Like do you even know what makes you happy? I know a lot of women who want to be around rich men and think that that's the life that they want. And then they get with a rich man and realize that they will always come in second or third place to his money. And now all of a sudden it don't look so great anymore. Like, so it's what makes you happy becomes the thing.
Say it again.
Yeah, I mean, I said you got to be careful what you wish for in some cases. You understand what I'm saying? And I know with me, like, I'm big on always saying I can't speak for nobody else in the world. I would never want to. But what I do know is I know with myself, when I took the time to become my best friend, when I took the time to step back and get into myself, then those questions pretty much answered themselves. Some of those answers I had epiphanies, other answers, they just naturally form. You know, but you got to allow yourself the space and the process to grow. And if you do that, then you're going to find what makes you happy. And you also have to admit to yourself too, like everything niggas is doing might not be what makes you happy. You know, like me personally, I'm not happy going out every goddamn night. I don't like that.
I had to admit to myself that I like some white girl activities, like horseback riding and camping and hiking, when I was kind of in denial. I was trying to be the city girl and do all the city things, but I really need to unplug sometimes. I was raised in the woods, dude.
So I mean, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I started like taking hikes and jogging like about a year ago, you know, and I had to admit to myself, I was like, yo, there's nothing wrong with coming back to nature and just being surrounded by the trees and not hearing horns and not hearing cars and not hearing traffic and not hearing attitudes. And you got to do what makes you happy. And some of that may not fall into the norms that society says, well, because you look this way and because your hair's this color and because your body's that shape, you should like just this. It don't work that way. You understand what I'm saying? And then once you do come into the stage where you know what works for you, you gotta also have the courage to be like, yo, when you're around the peanut gallery, to be like, yo, bro, that don't work for me. That doesn't make me happy. Y'all niggas go ahead, do what you're doing. I'm over here with it. You understand what I'm saying? And I just find that for me works best and it works great. And I wouldn't change a beat of it. And I do more of it the older I get.
Let's see, your process is a little more intense than the normal person's. I watched the Drink Champs episode. Shout out to Nori. You spoke on some pretty heavy stuff as far as not just what makes you happy, but what was also making you miserable at the time, what was also putting you through all kinds of like heartache and heartbreak and just like all this personal tragedy. You really let a lot loose on that show. I'm not sure whether it was the shots or you were just ready to talk, but with Noria could be either one. But like you.
Yeah, probably a hybrid of both of them, bro.
you were definitely like letting a lot loose. Yeah, you were letting a lot loose, man, and it was you know, it was real touching to see you open up like that. But I'm curious as to, I'm curious, and maybe you covered this on a part that I missed, but where was the moment when you were like, okay, I have a problem, and this is something that I need help handling this thing?
I don't think I had that moment during the whole, like I call it like the storm cloud period of my life. I don't think that moment came. I know what did come was something in me told me it was just time for me to give all this shit back and step away and reflect and assess. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really know that, like I said, that moment didn't come at that time. I think that moment for me came once I started my own personal journey on my own. And once I was able to turn the volume down on everything around me. And once I was able to just sit in a quiet place and be like, yo, bro, just take a look around. You know, and then that's when that started to form with me. But I just had a feeling that, like I just had a feeling like if I hadn't stopped when I did, I probably wouldn't have made it. Like I probably would have ended up being one of those that, you know, succumb to that whole notion when you start to say to yourself, well, I'm sick of all of this shit. Why would I want to be here another day?
How did your wife handle that?
My wife was incredibly supportive. Like, because I had felt a lot of those emotions before I even met her, you know, but once I did meet her and once we did start talking about things, and my wife never knew my history. Like, she knew bits and pieces of it. She was kind of familiar with who I was, but she never really, you know, knew who I was and what I did. Like I think the full scope of it. And then as I started to let my guard open and she would come more into my life, then she started to see, and she was like the only person that I could talk to that was like totally like, I'm just listening. I don't have an opinion. I'm just hearing what you're saying. And then no matter how I chose to proceed, she was always behind me, you know, and I think that's what made her like my rock. That's what made her like, and she also gave me the reason to say to myself, okay, let's get to the bottom of this shit so that we could get rid of how we feel, you know, so that we can open other doors, because I had come to love her that much, you know, and I was like, all right, if I'm gonna be with this person, then I can't be having thoughts about I don't need to be it. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, can't leave her behind. That would be crazy.
Yeah, you know, so I think that my whole awakening was, I think the best thing that I ever did was say to myself, yo, let me leave this shit alone for a second and let me give all of this shit back from wherever it came from and let me just fade to black for a second. And I think if I hadn't have done that, I don't think that we'd be having an interview right now.
That's what makes me go into the next question. Like, you're back in music now. It's so. Is it why chance it? Like, why come back to this life that had you on the edge all those years for all that time, and now why come back? Like, you seem happy, you got kids yelling in the next room, like you look all healthy, your skin's all clear, your queens get the money. Like, why risk any of that to come back to this world?
Because you know why, bro? You know what the difference is now? It's not a risk. And I say that because it's a hell of a lot different when you go through something, when you go through a storm, and in the end, you get rewards that, like, money can't buy. So my reward for going through my obstacle is resilience. My reward for going through my obstacle is peace. My reward for going through my obstacle is, or obstacles rather, is confidence. It's love. It's no doubt. It's no fear. It's no hesitation. It's none of the above. And those were the things I got granted from the universe for just hanging in and trusting.
Kind of like people that get attacked by a storm versus storm chasers. It's the difference between not having any clue the hurricane or the tornado was coming versus people that track it and intentionally with tools
and run right
go towards it because they know how to handle it and they have a plan and they know they've survived it before. And there's all kinds of wisdom that comes the next time around. And strength and confidence.
And the biggest thing with that, and the biggest thing with that too is the analogy of a storm chaser is really a great analogy, because I think to be a storm chaser, there has to be a little part of you that says, yeah, this is dangerous, and yeah, I could die, and your shit may go wrong. But if any of that occurred, I'd still be the happiest person under the sun. That doesn't remove all of the things that I learned, all of the beautiful things that occurred along the way, and what I became because of all of the things that I went through. So even if it all goes wrong in the middle of me running into the eye of a storm, I'm at peace with that.
Also, you understand? Thing, if you like riding motorcycles and you die going 200 on the highway, it's something you loved doing.
You already knew it.
And that was your choice and your risk, but it's something you really loved. So,
but and if you didn't do that, you wouldn't be you.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, if that's in you. So I think the difference with me now is, like, I think I just had to go through a process that, gave me a thicker skin. And I think I just had to go through a process that allowed me to say, okay, get rid of a couple of these things so that things aren't as complicated or scary to you, and walk in this dark tunnel by yourself. And yeah, there may be something that's going to jump out when you're walking through this tunnel, but you're never going to know if you don't walk through it. Mm-hmm. And I just chose to do that. And so I think now I'm just like, yo, it doesn't matter what happens, bro. I've had the best life I could have ever possibly asked for. I've been places I never imagined going. I've met people I never in a million years would have thought I would have met. I'm the last person under the sun who can complain about anything. I have a family. I got my small business. I have this music in my soul. I got people that dig it. So at the end of the day, bro, it don't really matter, bro. What matters is that if it's telling me to take a shot, that I listen and I take the shot. And the other part of that, how?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, what is, expound on that? I know it has.
Oh yeah, you can hear it. Hell yeah, you can hear it. Like, you can hear it, because like I said, I think there were things that I had to go through. One, to give me a different perspective. Two, to enhance my ability as a songwriter. Three, to give me something to talk about with some
subjects. Yeah.
And then four, like, just rhyme it. Nothing's ready for you until you're ready for it. You understand what I'm saying? And we just hit that stage where here's the music and here's me, and we're lined up. And
it's just the right time.
I just pay attention. It's just the right time. Some things you can't say why, you just know. It ain't for you to ask why. It's only for you to wonder how. You understand what I'm saying? So that's how I feel. I don't have any fear about not meeting expectations, or how it's going to sound, or how many streams I'm going to get, or is this going to hit every region in the, I don't give a fuck about that shit. I'm just going for what I know and enjoying doing.
What is the plan?
That's really the heart and soul of what we do.
So you have the new song "Smoke" out. What's the plan as far as other singles or album or touring?
Yeah.
What's the next steps?
Oh,
He's excited.
we got a good plan.
It's a good one.
We got a good plan. Yeah, oh hell yeah. The plan is the plan. I mean, honestly, the plan is just to split the world in half, let the smoke settle, and after that, just stand there and be like, I told you. And then whatever comes with that, comes with it.
See,
you know, so
I
the
hear the
music is
analogy.
amazing.
I heard the analogy as far as like riding like the motorcycle rider, and that sounds great until you think about the idea of you taking someone else out while you're going 200 miles an hour, or the people that you leave behind because you couldn't just drive at a sensible rate. Like there are people in other cars who might catch it. He's got a wife and kids, you know what I mean? Like, was it worth going 200 miles an hour to risk leaving the wife and kids? But the response about how he's not worried about crashing because he's crashed already and he knows how to crash, or he just knows how to drive that well. Like, you know what I mean? That's a different thing, but it makes me just like, it's one of those things where you start rooting for the good guy. You just hope that, you know, whatever you do on that motorcycle, just bring your ass back home when it's all said and done.
Right.
Well, I promise you I will, bro. I promise you I will.
You know how to drive that fast safely.
Oh, fuck yeah. And the other thing to it is a hell of a lot different when you have that support system that behind you stand, yeah, go get on the fight. Like, we believe enough in you that we believe you're going to be just fine. And we believe that the love we all share is going to get you there. And we believe no matter what goes on, nothing's going to change that. So it would be a lot different if I didn't have that confidence from my spouse and from my kids and from those people that mean everything in the world to me. But I do, you know, and I think a lot of that confidence they have has come from them watching me grow. And it's come from them seeing me go through my obstacles. And it's come from them seeing how I dealt with it and how I got above it. Right. You know, so we ain't worried, bro. You shouldn't be worried either.
I was gonna say, my mom always used to say, we talk about careful what you wish for. There's a piece she always said, don't wish, you can wish for, you know, money, fame, success, and wisdom is a good one, but discernment is the best. Just to figure out how to make decisions, how to successfully know how, like you said, with the balance thing, with who to listen to, yourself, God, your friends, your family, you know, loved ones, Wikipedia, Google. I mean,
it's gonna be what it is, right? And at the end of it all, there's parts of it that are within my control, and there's parts of it that are not within my control. And so I don't worry about what I can't put my hands on. That's not for me to worry about. That's the part where I have to just be like, okay, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I have to be okay with not knowing how it's going to turn out. If you're okay with not knowing, then you don't worry.
But you also, it's not just that you're not worried about the outcome, it's that you put in the work ahead of time to create the outcome that you desire. So you've like already nudged the snowball down the hill, down the correct hill.
Right.
It's not going to end up in a hot tub and turn into nothing.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's all of that, but I'm, like I said, I've never been this happy in my life. I've never been this happy being able to create music and write music and put music out. I've never been this happy looking forward to traveling the world after this pandemic and going and seeing people and interacting with them. Like, I'm looking so forward to every day, bro, every nanosecond. So
the other night I said,
I'm just like,
I'm so excited and happy that people are grateful. And I don't want to say terrified, but I'm not looking forward to the fact that some people will start to take it all for granted, or it'll just start to feel regular. Because I don't want to live regular anymore. I love how grateful and appreciative people are of friendships, of their ability to work, their health, like all these things were great things that came out of the pandemic. It's unfortunate so many people got sick and died, but we all learned a lot, and I hope it sticks.
You hope we learned a lot.
A lot of us learned a lot.
Well, you hope. Like I think one of my main things is I don't ride around concerned about. I don't put a lot of emphasis on the whims and hopes and thoughts and feelings of people who wouldn't show up at my funeral if I passed tomorrow. Like I'm so in one thing the pandemic did for me, it got me wild and different to a lot of and I was already kind of indifferent, but now I really don't care to be around a bunch of people's thoughts and opinions and especially when it doesn't reverberate. Like I'm cool on that. Like permanently, I think. I'm not sure if that's ever coming back.
I'm saying I love the enjoyment and appreciation that I have witnessed, and I hope that it sticks around.
Oh, sure.
Seeing people so grateful and positive,
we can hope
feels good.
that stays with people. Yeah, you can hope all of that stays with people, but at the end of the day, like I said, to each his own. And all you could do really in this world, you could want all of those things. You can try to assist people with keeping those things in the forefront. But at the end of the day, man, life ain't complicated. People complicated. They're gonna do what they do. Do what you do.
100%.
You understand what I'm saying? Do what you do. Do what works for you. Do what makes you happy. Do what brings you joy. And if you're sincere in that shit is gonna flow to everybody that's around you that's ready to receive it. Everybody ain't gonna always gonna want to hold on to what they learn. Everybody ain't gonna always wanna participate in things of that nature. But just do what floats your boat. Because like I said, you only get one time in this amusement park. You don't get to hit a reset button. You feel me? So make it count.
Where are you living, by the way?
Be while it counts.
You said you've been hiking and running and it's pouring there, but you're not here in New York, are you?
Yeah, I'm in New York.
Okay, you are here.
I'm in New York. We have parks and stuff in NYC.
Well, I don't know about hiking.
Yeah, so
I don't know
I'm
how
still
many
in
hills
New
we have.
York.
But you can go walk outside for sure.
No, I have there's a really, really big park not far from my house. So I go there. You can actually ride horses in the park if you wanted to. Like they have horse trails and they have bike trails and
I said I'll be right there. That's my thing.
It's Queens. Too much away, but it's in Queens. But it's a gigantic park in Queens, and it's like our little central park.
I always say that one of the greatest things about living in a city is being able to escape the city often, and then you appreciate it more, and then you know. But city people want that, and country folk want to come to the big city. So like we need variety. We do.
Yeah. I mean, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing at all wrong with that. You understand what I'm saying?
Mecca does not need the woods,
my whole thing, I think. Say that again.
I said Mecca does not need the woods.
Say that again.
Mecca is not with the woods, the bears, the sticks.
Not with the woods, bro. Yeah, Mecca, that's not your thing, bro.
Yeah, no words, just head shaking. Nope.
Listen, we could get right. I could do the fire pit. We could fish. We could stuff. I'm into that.
We're gonna have a rap retreat. Let's do a rap retreat.
Don't teach this,
Mike, because it's you, and because you're my fellow Queens head. I will pull up.
Yes.
However, make it known that the reason I don't rock with the woods is because things live there on purpose.
Yes.
And you are not invited. They did not tell you to show up. They did not ask you to be here. Like when a 600-pound grizzly
live in the hood.
Okay, but I grew up with them. So I grew up with those. So I'm good with those. But I didn't grow up with a grizzly.
I feel
like,
but did you grow up with all of them? You good with all of them?
Bro, I know my way around a pit bull, a rat, a roach.
Raccoons, coyotes,
raccoons. Like I'm cool. I'm cool with those. I'm from Queens, bro. Like I know the animals that be outside. However, Wolverines, bears, like where the wild things are, cougars.
I feel that.
They didn't. Hold on. You know how bold you got to be to walk into somebody's living room and set up a campfire and act like you home. Every time you go out there, that's what you doing. You in the middle of their living room.
But they don't do
acting like you
ownership
belong
the same
there.
way we do.
That's why
they know how to share
the way we see it.
They know how to share generally.
Yeah,
and they eat somebody, and that's just what it is.
9 out of 10 times, bro, they're not even thinking about it the way that we as people view it. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna say you don't have instances where, yeah, you in the wrong place at the wrong fucking time. Yeah, that could happen, but nigga, that could happen making a wrong turn in Brooklyn. That could happen making a wrong turn in Mount Vernon. That could happen making a wrong turn in Atlanta. Anywhere. You understand what I'm saying? So
no doubt.
You just got like, and I feel where you coming from, Matt, because I used to feel that way about things, nigga. You understand what I'm saying? Don't get it fucked up. Certain shit I'm not at all doing. You understand? Like there's a cutoff point.
Swimming with
Don't
sharks
get it fucked up.
No.
I don't know. Like I have a fascination with sharks.
Oh, okay. Nope. This is over. Nope. He got a fascination with sharks. Nope. I'm done here. No, I'm finished. Nope.
I like snakes.
Nope. We're done.
I hold the big ones.
No, we're completely finished. We're completely finished. She just said sharks.
I like sharks.
No more. Nope.
I'm trying to that I absolutely won't do where I'm like, nah, I'm not fucking with that at all. What would I like not at all do?
See, that list is taking too long for you to come up with.
It is, bro. Because I'm sitting here like, yo, what would I not?
Are you talking about nature things?
It ain't much out.
Or just in general?
Yeah, like I would not. I wouldn't get in the submarine. Like that, I wouldn't do.
Claustrophobia.
I'm done here. Nope.
I'm terrified of birds. So there's that. I don't like birds. I'll admit that one. Nope. They're like little beady eyes and dinosaur feet.
No, y'all are both
bugging
out. Y'all are both bugging. Like
that's it. I don't like birds.
Y'all are wilding. Y'all are wilding. He says, I don't like submarines. Meanwhile, he is born and bred in New York City. Every time he's ever gotten on the E train and going into Manhattan, he's been on a submarine for at least a couple of minutes. Y'all
the
got
light
it.
at the end of the tunnel.
No, it's not the same at the bottom of like the Marianas Trench and like that's not the same, bro. That like
nobody's at the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
Yeah, but that's what Elon Musk.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yo, that's miles under the water. Miles.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to take like that journey, like be that far under the water in a tin can. I wouldn't want to do that. You
a friend of mine
was
trying to do the space program for Mars, and it's a 4-year trip. And I said, no, I can't sign up for that. You miss too much. I like a trip.
See, I would do that.
You would do that
with me? I would do that.
If you could bring your kids with you, you said?
I would do that. Actually,
family? Because 4 years without your kids
fun
and wife,
fact, look, fun fact, when I was a kid, I was dying to go to space camp. And my mom actually had gotten me into like the preliminary stage of space camp. It used to be in like Georgia or somewhere like that.
Okay.
So I always wanted to see outer space. I've always wanted to like fly a F-16 or ride in an F-16 or something like that. So that I would do. I would get on board for a trip tomorrow.
You know what? I hope that this next album run that you're on brings you the sharks swimming, the polar bears, the trip in space,
snakes on a plane.
The F-16. I hope you get all of that with this new album. I hope it brings you all.
Yo, and you coming with me back?
No, I am not. I will be there in spirit.
So come to the album party cookout. He'll be right there for the
cookout. Because a bear might be there. I don't know where he gonna have the cookout at. I don't trust nothing coming from Mic Geronimo and his location right now. His location game is ridiculous.
This just made my day.
Yo, whatever happens, I got. Yeah, I'm not gonna just stand there and let anything violate you.
You saw that lady push the bear away from the dog. That's you. That's you. You push the bear away from Mecca. I got you, bro.
Nah. We out. Mike, please tell everybody where they can find you, the name of the new project, and all that other good information.
Yeah. So the new project is called 3016. It'll be out like fall, late summer. The first single is Smoke, produced by Self Service and my man Who Else. Shout out to them. That's on all digital platforms right now. You could do Apple Music, you could do Tidal, you could do Pandora, you can do whatever exists and is there. The next single will be out, I think, relatively around maybe a couple of weeks after July 4th. And yeah, we're just having fun. If you want to get at me, I'm on Twitter at Real Mic Geronimo. My Instagram is Mic Geronimo. You could go to the website www.micgeronimomusic.com. We have the Facebook fan page for Mic Geronimo, and I think I'm leaving something out. There's SoundCloud and YouTube channel. There's the Mic Geronimo YouTube channel. So I'm not a hard man to find on the net. And other than that, I appreciate the support over the years. I thank people so much for sticking with me. I thank people so much for making us ride something to enjoy every step of the way. And this is a beautiful way to put it to bed. So I'm just looking forward to the project coming out. That's about it. And I'm gonna get Mac to come out into the wood, to the fire pit. Thank you.
Thanks for pulling up on us.
Right. And when I do like pull it off, then we're gonna celebrate with a camping trip next to a lake that may have a shark in it that digs fresh water.
Freshwater sharks coming right up.
And Kay is gonna be with us too, right, Kay?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in the car. No problem. In the meantime, in between time, I'm your man, Mr. Mac.
And I'm Crystal Leven.
This has been the M+M+M show, aka the
show.
May you live as long as you want and never want as long as you live. Do us all a favor. Go get laid. Peace.